Trump met with Zelensky, but things were a little bit prickly before the meeting took place. You can see this post over from Zero Hedge tells us Trump criticized Zelensky and actually revealed a private message that somebody on Zelensky's team sent over to Trump. And so we'll read what that message said, because there was some criticism, because as we remember, Zelensky was in town hanging out with Governor Shapiro from Pennsylvania, campaigning with Democrats, signing artillery shells to lob over into Russia. And some people were concerned about that. And so we're asking ourselves, what is Zelensky doing in the United States? Is he campaigning, or what is ultimately happening here? You remember, this was the scene with Zelensky standing there with Democrats. There's Governor Shapiro and other Democratic senators. And I believe there were people from Kamala's campaign there as they were signing this. So it was all a campaign op. And as we'll get into this message from Zelensky back to Trump, it feels like it's a little bit contradictory. Zelensky is trying to play both sides here, and we don't like that. Double-faced, two-faced, double talkers. And so this was an interview from the New Yorker. Zelensky sat down with the New Yorker, and the interview exchange went like this. But isn't that yet more cause for alarm, said some dumb interviewer. Zelensky said, my feeling is that Trump doesn't really know how to stop the war, even if he might think he knows how. Okay, so Zelensky's talking garbage about Trump. With this war, says Zelensky, oftentimes the deeper you look at it, the less you understand, because Trump's so dumb. I've seen many leaders who were convinced they knew how to end it tomorrow, and as they waded deeper into it, they realized it's not that simple. Yeah, because you got to deal with the CIA and the defense contractors. Zelensky's talking garbage, and let's see what his text message to Trump says, because it's going to contradict this. Then he says, question, Zelensky, hero of the world, apart from Trump's own reluctance to talk about Ukrainian victory, he has chosen J.D. Vance as his vice presidential candidate. What do you think about that, Zelensky? Zelensky says he is too radical, talking garbage. And the interviewer says, Vance has come out with a more precise plan, Zelensky says, to give up our territories. Interviewer says, your words, not mine, but yeah, that's the gist of it. So Zelensky comes out, he says, his message seems to be that Ukraine must make a sacrifice. This brings us back to the question of the cost and who shoulders it, America mostly. The idea that the world should end this war at Ukraine's expense is unacceptable. But I do not consider this concept of his plan in any formal sense. This would be an awful idea. If a person were actually going to carry it out, to make Ukraine shoulder the cost of stopping by the war by giving its territories up, but there's certainly no way this could ever happen. This kind of scenario would have no basis in international norms, the UN statute, and justice, and it wouldn't necessarily end the war either. It's just sloganeering. All right, so that's Zelensky. Comes over here. Our country gives him $180 billion plus. I think Joe Biden has given him even more. We'll get there. But Zelensky then is now campaigning against Trump and J.D. Vance by giving interviews to the New Yorker. All right, talking crap in the actual interviews. And they were hanging out with Shapiro and the rest of the people in Pennsylvania, a key swing state. Why are they there? Obviously, to interfere with the election. But the problem is, Trump wasn't having any of that. And Zelensky had to reach out to him and say, oh, can I please meet with you? Basically begging to meet with him. You know that Trump has been critical of Zelensky. Trump trashed Zelensky as the greatest salesman on earth. Yeah, gosh, the guy's got $100 billion and then some. Trump said those cities are gone, okay? They're gone in Ukraine. And we continue to give billions of dollars to a man who refused to make a deal called Zelensky. There was no deal that he could have made that wouldn't have been better than the situation you have right now, Trump said in North Carolina. Following this, Trump charged Zelensky with making little nasty aspersions toward him, which he did in that prior interview. It's a shame what's happening in Ukraine, says Trump. So many deaths, so much destruction. It's a horrible thing. Earlier in the week, after Zelensky criticized J.D. Vance in the New Yorker, as we read, Trump campaign had said, Zelensky, we're not meeting with him. No, we're not going to meet with him, okay? He wants to talk crap, that's fine. He can go hang out with Kamala. Now, but by late Thursday, that changed. Trump revealed a personal and somewhat desperate-sounding message that Zelensky sent to him, urgently requesting a meeting. Trump posted the full message on Truth Social, and then they met. The message emphasized lies from Zelensky. And so here's what Trump ultimately posted. Right over on Truth Social, you see this came from the president himself. So it looks like it's an email or text message. Denis Sinak, Deputy Ambassador of Ukraine, sends Trump this message. Would you please be so kind to pass this message from President Zelensky to President Trump? Here's the message from Zelensky. Dear Donald, I hope you're doing well. I recall our recent phone call. It was really good. All of us in Ukraine want to end this war with a just peace. And we know that without America, this is impossible to achieve. And that's why we have to strive to understand each other and remain in close contact. So please stop snubbing me. Zelensky tells Trump, days ago, we requested a meeting with you, and I really want to hear your thoughts directly and firsthand. Can you please respond to our email? I sent you a text. Just trying again. Are you ghosting me? Zelensky says, I always speak with great respect about everything connected to you, and that's how it should be. No, you do not, Zelensky. You talked crap about him to the New Yorker, and you went and signed artillery with Shapiro. So that's not honest, or the New Yorker's not honest. Now, maybe you should have met with Trump and gotten his thoughts directly before you opened your mouth with the New Yorker. Now, I can be in New York on Friday, which would be a good time to meet. They did meet. I believe it's important for us to have a personal contact and to understand each other 100%. Let me know if you are in the city at that time. I would really like for our meeting to take place as part of our efforts to help us end this war in a just way. Sincerely, Vladimir. Okay, thanks, Zelensky. You'd respond, be like, dude, I read the interview in New Yorker. That's not what you said at all. So don't gaslight us, but it seems a little nervous. Oh, crap, I better reach out to this guy. They're mad at me over there. Oh, and so they did meet. They were there in Trump Tower. And so let's listen to this exchange via C-SPAN. Trump meets with Zelensky after this back and forth, and let's see what Zelensky has to say.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have the president with us, and he's been through a lot. He's been through a tremendous amount, like probably nobody else, almost nobody else in history, if you really get right down to it. And we're going to have a discussion and see what we can come up with, but great honor to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you so much for this meeting. Five years passed.
Yeah.
So yes, we had a meeting again here in New York in September, and now there are a lot of challenges in Ukraine, United States, and of course I want to discuss with you. I think where we are together, I think we have common view that the war in Ukraine has to be stopped and Putin can't win, and Ukrainians have to prevail, and I want to discuss with you the details of our plan of victory. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a question for the president? Anybody?
Why did you decide to meet?
I think it's me, or
Both
to
of you.
both us. Okay, thank you so much. First of all, it's very important to share all the plan, all our steps, how we can strengthen Ukraine. And of course, we have to decide it now, because after November, we don't know who is, only Americans decide who will be the president. But we understand that till November, we can't stop Putin. We have to do it. We will try on the battlefield with our heroic soldiers, but we understand that after November, we have to decide, and we hope that the strength of United States will be very strong, and we count on it. That's why I decided to meet with both candidates with all honor to them. Thank you.
And campaign with Shapiro.
Yeah, Mr. President Trump. So what are your expectations about this meeting? So what I expect to hear from the President Zelensky, and what are your expectations?
Say it a little louder, please.
What are your expectations from this meeting? What do you expect to hear from Mr.
Nothing.
President?
Look, this is a meeting, and we have a big race going on right now. I guess 37 days left, and we're leading in the polls, and so we'll see how it all works out. Hopefully it'll work out, but if it does, we're going to work very much with both parties to try and get this settled and get it worked out It has to end at some point. It has to end. He's gone through hell, and his country has gone through hell like few countries have ever, like it's happened anywhere. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. It's a terrible situation. And I will say I have had a great relationship. It was very honorable. I don't even know if you know this, but when they did the impeachment hoax, it was a hoax, just a Democrat hoax, which we won. But one of the reasons we won it so easily is that when the president was asked, it was over a phone call with the president, and he said he could have grandstanded and played cute, but he didn't do that. He said President Trump did absolutely nothing wrong. He said it loud and clear, and the impeachment hoax died right there. He could have said, I don't know, I don't know. And I never even told you this, to be honest. But
yeah, he could have done a lot more. Impeachment never should have gotten that far at all.
Like a piece of steel.
At the very beginning.
He said President Trump did nothing wrong. We had a very nice call. He congratulated me on his victory. It just won. And I remember that. He could have played cute, and he didn't play cute. And so I appreciated that. So we have a very good relationship.
Okay.
And I also have a very good relationship with President Putin. And I think if we win, I think we're going to get it resolved very quickly. I really think we're going to get it
I
resolved.
hope we have more good relations.
We're going to have. It takes two to tango, and we're going to have a good meeting today. And I think the fact that we're even together today is a very good sign. And hopefully we'll have a good victory, because the other side wins. I don't think you're going to have victories with anything, to be honest with you. So we're going to sit down and just discuss it. And if we have a win, I think long before January 20th, before I would take the presidency, it's January 20th. But long before that, I think that we can work out something that's good for both sides. It's time. And by the way, the president knows that too. He wants to get something done. He doesn't want to do this.
Does he?
And so we look forward to having them. I look forward to being with him. But what I said is true. He was a piece of steel. He gave a very honest, straight answer, and that it really essentially ended the impeachment hoax. And I appreciated that. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, so that was apparently before the meeting, as you could hear, and they came out after the fact, and Carly Bonney clipped this for us. Fox News was on this. Zelensky and Trump came out. You can see a different scenery here, and here is what they're reporting.
Our soldiers, our people, of course, it will bring us closer to the peace. We need just peace. We need just peace. It's so important to have just peace for the people, especially for the families who...
Until, I think, recently, unless something's changed, the standard for just peace, how do you get there? How do you reach that? Putin goes to jail and prison in the International Criminal Court after a trial, is what Jake Sullivan was saying, the national security advisor from the Biden administration. Has that changed? What is a just peace? Is Ukraine getting every inch of territory that they want and claim? Or are they ceding some of that to Russia? Are they agreeing to not be a part of NATO ever or not? What's the deal? What is a just peace?
Who lost their children. It's a big tragedy.
President Trump, have you changed your thoughts on how this war should end, what you think should be done, or do you still stand by some of the previous?
I learned a lot, but I think I haven't changed from the standpoint that we both want to see this end, and we both want to see a fair deal made, and it's got to be fair, and I think that'll happen at the right time. I think it's going to happen. The president wants it to end, and he wants it to end as quickly as possible. He wants a fair transaction to take place, and I think right now I'm campaigning, so right now I don't have much to do with it other than we're doing very well in terms of the campaign, and I've been saying that I believe if I win, we're going to have a very fair and I think actually rather rapid deal. It should stop, and the president wants it to stop, and I'm sure President Putin wants it to stop. And that's a good combination. So we want to have a fair deal for everybody.
What do you envision as fair?
It's too early to say that. I have my own ideas, and I'm sure the president definitely has his own ideas, but it has to be fair.
This war shouldn't be think that the problem that Putin killed so many people, and of course we need to do everything to pressure him to stop this war, and he's on our territory. That is the most important to understand. He's on our territory, and how to stop the war, to pressure him as we can. We have to do it.
And do you think the U.S. is the best?
U.S. is the leader.
negotiate with it?
U.S. is the leader of support. U.S. is the leader in the world, and of course we are the support of the United States. We're thankful to the United States, the people of America, and of course we understand that United States can be the leader through any negotiation. You know that we have the peace summit, and we want to organize the second one, and we count on this support.
I know you're both in a rush. Last question. Will there be another meeting in the near future between you?
Could very well happen, but I think the president said it the best. This is a war that should have never happened. It should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened. It's a shame, but this is a war that should have never happened, and we'll get it solved. It's a complicated puzzle, very complicated puzzle, but we'll get it solved, and people get on with their lives. Too many people dead. Too many beautiful cities. I've seen those cities. They're so beautiful, and I don't know how you can ever rebuild them the way they were. It's not possible.
You have to come, by the way, to see our city.
I will. It's a beautiful country, beautiful weather, beautiful everything, but we have to get this over with.
Yeah.
But it's a war, and the president agrees. This is a war that should have never happened. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, that is a very nice thing to see. Trump engaging in diplomacy. Of course, he's a deal maker, and we do want an end to the war. And I'm glad to see that developing.